starve the beast. This is the strategy Republicans are using to shrink the federal government. They're making deep tax cuts, draining government funds so that essential services like public schools, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and infrastructure can't survive. The goal is to force even bigger cuts later, not by choice, but because the money is gone. This strategy became popular in the 1980s when President Reagan claimed that cutting taxes would force the government to spend less, like cutting a teenager's allowance. But that's not what happened. Instead, tax cuts led to bigger deficits, more government borrowing, and growing national debt without actually reducing spending. Meanwhile, essential programs that millions of Americans rely on are under constant attack. When Social Security and Medicare don't have enough money, it's not because they don't work. It's because Republican politicians have drained the funding that keeps them strong. Here in North Carolina, we're seeing the full impact of this strategy. Over the past decade, Republican lawmakers have cut corporate taxes, leading to deep cuts in public education, struggling rural hospitals, and crumbling infrastructure. Our public schools are in crisis. North Carolina ranks near the bottom in per-pupil spending and teacher pay, pushing many educators to leave for better opportunities in other states. Hospitals have closed down in rural communities all across the state. Meanwhile, local governments are struggling to provide citizens with good roads and clean water. When we slash public funding, we don't just shrink government. We shrink opportunity, fairness, security, and prosperity. Many Republican leaders openly admit that this is their goal. Grover Norquist, a major supporter of starving the beast, once said the goal of this strategy was to shrink government down to the size where we can drown it in a bathtub. But why should we destroy public schools or Social Security or healthcare, programs that help hundreds of millions of Americans every day? The truth is, we don't need to starve the government. We need to fund it responsibly so it can serve the American people. Billionaires and corporations must pay their fair share so that all Americans, urban and rural, young and old, poor and rich, have what they need to thrive.